It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the films of February 6, 2004. We got 4 movies to look at today, a couple of notable films in particular, so let's go ahead and just get right to it. We'll start off with the biggest new release of the weekend, and that's the return of Ice Cube, Cedric the Entertainer, Eve, and the introduction to Queen Latifah into the Barbershop franchise, and that is Barbershop 2, Back in Business. So Barbershop 2 deals with the impacts of gentrification on the reputation and livelihood of a long-standing South Chicago barbershop. And like I said, you've got most of the same people back from the first movie. There's additional characters, Queen Latifah, Kenan Thompson's involved in this. And, you know, the first film was one of those big surprises that really did come out of nowhere. It actually turned out to be a really good movie in the process, and a film that, you know, shows Ice Cube has range in acting, and this one I think is just as good. I think this is about as enjoyable as the original film. There's still a lot of elements about it that are very funny. You do like the camaraderie between all these characters. I think Queen Latifah is a nice addition to the series, even though technically she's building here for a special appearance. I mean, she has a bigger role, I think, than just a special appearance, but this was really just to promote the upcoming spin-off Beauty Shop, which, if you saw the movie in theaters around this time, there was actually a trailer for this. For that Beauty Shop spin-off right before this movie came out and came on the screen, I should say. But you know, the film is still just as fun as the original film. There is still a lot of things about it that do work from a dramatic perspective, from a story perspective, a writing perspective overall. Even though it's a different director, it's not Tim Story this time around. It's Kevin Rodney Sullivan, who would later go on to direct Guess Who the following year, and I mean, he shows that he can handle what Tim Story had introduced in the first film and add another level to it in general. It's a story that is very much a formulaic storyline, can be predictable at times, but never to the point where the film really overstays its welcome or feels like it's just a rip-off sequel. You could tell that they were trying to expand the story a little bit more with this particular film, and I thought for the most part they did indeed succeed with it. I think it is a very enjoyable sequel. About as good as the original film. The Barbershop films in general have been really, really good all throughout the 4 films, including the spin-off. And we'll get more into the Beauty Shop when we get to next year in 2005. But, yeah, I really like Barbershop 2. So with that said, let's move on to the next movie, and that is Kurt Russell in Miracle. I mean, of course, Disney had to make a movie about the Miracle on Ice. I mean, they have the footage, the famous footage of Al Michaels saying, "Do you believe in miracles?" In fact, he actually is in the movie re-recording a lot of his lines, and when they actually get to the final 10 seconds, they actually take the current voice of Al Michaels and then take it back down to when he was saying this in 1980, which can be a little bit distracting when you hear Al Michaels in 2004 all of a sudden turning into the Al Michaels of 1980, and it definitely sounds like he's gotten 24 years older in between 1980 and now, when this movie came out. But at the same time, it still works, and the movie itself works as a whole. Yeah, it's very much a formulaic Disney sports film, but it's a formulaic Disney sports film about one of the greatest moments in sports history, about the U.S. men's ice hockey team, whose gold medal victory in the 1980 Winter Olympics over the heavily favored seasoned Soviet team, which dubbed the Miracle on Ice. And you've got Kurt Russell starring as Herb Brooks, with Patricia Clarkson and Noah Emmerich in supporting roles. And it's a very uplifting film. It's a film that has very much been there, done that in terms of, you know, the story is this kind of sports movie cliches. They are in this movie, but the story is so inspiring and so incredible. Like, you really do get invested in it, and you really do ignore the fact that they are doing a lot of sports movie cliches, because the story as a whole is very well done. The story is very much, it's the spotlight of the entire movie is that game between the U.S. men's hockey team and the Soviet team in that game in the Miracle on Ice. I mean, it's a classic moment in sports history, and it does a very good job of making you feel like you're back in 1980 watching this for the first time. I mean, seeing this on a big screen was really impressive to watch for the first time because I had seen like little bits and pieces of it here and there, but obviously I never really saw the whole thing on live television, because I was still 9 years away from being born when this happened. So, but It's a very thrilling film. They do a great job of making you feel like you're part of the action. You're watching the suspense overall. Like when it gets to the final minutes of that game, you're on the edge of your seat. Even though you know what's going to happen, you know what's going to come next. Like this film does a very good job of keeping you in suspense throughout the course of the film, even though you know good and goddamn well what happens because the story is woefully well known about what happened after this. But Kurt Russell is very good in the film, giving a really good performance as Herb Brooks. Patricia Clarkson's very good, so is Noah Emmerich. The cast overall is really great. The visuals are very impressive. Like I said, good storytelling, just a really, really good film. Probably one of Disney's best sports movies in general. And you know, you've got one of the greatest stories in sports history. You better make the best movie you can out of it, and they do just that and then some. So yeah, there you go. That's Miracle. So let's get to some crap because we still are in the dumping weeks of the early part of the year. Here's Kristen Stewart in Catch That Kid. Because they're kids. Get it. Can we put you in the face even more with that? I mean, the whole that's just one commercial. The trailer is just as bad for this, but yeah. You get the idea. They're kids. I mean, the story very much is about as simple as you can get. Three kids who rob a bank to obtain the money to pay for the expensive and experimental surgery needed for the father of one of them, when the insurance company and the bank president won't help his wife. And you've got Kristen Stewart, pre-Twilight, Corbin Bleu, pre-High School Musical, Max Theroux, pre-The Pacifier, Jennifer Beals, Sam Robards, John Carroll Lynch, James LaGrosse. Good cast, and a good director, Bart Fruitland, who would later go on to do much better movies in general, like Trust the Man, and Michael Brandt and Derek House, who wrote the Terminator movies, the more recent Terminator movies. But there's a lot of talent involved in here, but it's just a generic script. It's a film that you can tell Fox saw the success of Spy Kids, saw the success of Agent Cody Banks, saw the success of Kim Possible, and said, we need our kids spy movie. So just throw whatever garbage you can together, and we'll put a movie out in time for February, because we think it's going to be successful. And no, it wasn't. It was far from successful, and you can kind of see why. It's about as blatantly obvious of a kid's knockoff as you can get. It's a film that wants to remind you that this was a thing around the time with kids spy movies and TV shows that were so much better than this movie was. And just a waste of talent overall, not really given a whole lot to do in general, and it delivers what you expect it to do. I mean, it's a film that really is pretty lame overall. Nothing really all that engaging, nothing really all that amazing. Just what you'd expect for the dumping weeks of January and early February. But I digress. Let's go ahead and wrap this up on a better note. Here's Bernardo Bertolucci's The Dreamers. This is a movie that is most notably known for having the uncut NC-17 version and an R-rated version that's 3 minutes shorter. Based off of the novel The Holy Innocents, you have a story that follows an American university student in Paris who, after meeting a peculiar brother and sister who are fellow film enthusiasts, become entangled in an erotic triangle set against the backdrop of the 1968 Paris student riots, and makes several references to various movies of classical and French New Wave cinema, incorporating clips and films from those that are often imitated by the actors in particular scenes. And, Bernardo Bertolucci was kind of on a lackluster spiral after The Last Emperor. Most of his movies he made after this were either not good films or very much underwhelming performers, like The Sheltering Sky, Little Buddha, Stealing Beauty, Besieged. A lot of these movies we've talked about on the show in the past. But this was the one that really brought him back to form a little bit. I mean, this is a really good movie. And he also, keep in mind, this is also the same guy that did Last Tango in Paris before he did The Last Emperor. And he's got a great cast to work with here. You can tell that he is working with some really good talents involved here. Ava Green, Michael Pitt, Louis Garrel, Anna Chancellor. They're doing a very good job of handling these roles in particular, and the film really is well done. Like, it's the definition of what a good erotic thriller should be. And we've had so many knockoff erotic thriller films. Everyone wanted to be the next Basic Instinct, and every single one of those movies ended up being complete garbage. But here's a film that is not only just an erotic thriller, but a very good earnest drama in general, and delivers everything that promises and then some, and features a lot of young talent really showing what they can do before in general, and they are very good in the film. They're all very solid performers. The film is very intense to watch. It's a very intriguing film in general. I really liked it a lot. I give it a good recommendation. Definitely check out The Dreamers. And so with that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. We'll take a look at Valentine's weekend next week with only one big new release to talk about. Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore in their first film together since The Wedding Singer, and that's 50 First Dates. So we'll take a look at that film all on the next episode. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and also don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this on this channel. So, with that said, I am off. I will see you guys next time, and until then, as always, take care.